Okay. So today we're going to work on the face and the arms, hand, 2 arms and the hand. So I'm using here burnt sienna. It's the one I'm using is from Winsor & Newton. It's a little bit orangey. And burnt umber and white. So I'm going to take burnt sienna, put some white, and I'm going to paint the face. I'm sure we're going to need more than 1 layer.
Darker?
Darker?
A little darker? Lighter?
Medium tone is fine. We'll darken after, or we'll highlight and darken after. I'm going to take, at this point, the face is not that dark. I'm going to take a tiny bit of burnt umber, mix it with this mixture, or part of the mixture that we have for the face. Gonna give him just here where the nose is. It's like I'm gonna get closer, right? I'm gonna zoom in. Okay. Now I'm gonna mix again. Burnt umber and burnt sienna. Do you want me to wait a bit before I continue?
I'm okay.
You're okay? Okay. Burnt umber, burnt sienna. I think for now, no white for this part. This is really kind of dark. Then I'm gonna go in with that mixture that I have from before, push it in into that brown that I have. It's better to go dark first and then highlight. Okay. Now the left arm where he's holding the horse is lighter than this one here on the left, on the right. So I'm going to take white not too much. So this mixture has a bit of burnt umber, burnt sienna, and white. No, of course, acrylic dries darker. So whatever we put in here is going to dry darker. So we can adjust the value. I pay more attention, a lot more attention to the hands because, you know, they're important. Yeah, this color is now dark. That's okay. I always like to start with dark. This part of the arm is darker, slightly darker, right here. And fingers, slightly darker here, and we can highlight them after. Okay. I'm gonna pause for a minute. And then we can come back and highlight. All right, let's highlight. So I am gonna take same burnt sienna, put some white in it. Again, it's not a strong highlight. Let's start with the face. So I'm gonna highlight where the forehead is. Push the hair up, the forehead. Push the forehead up. Don't worry about the hair because we're gonna put his hair like a wispy. I'm gonna take a bit of more of white now, just a tiny bit of white into my burnt sienna and highlight this part. And here too. Okay, I'm gonna leave it alone because I'm going over it so many times, I'm gonna ruin it. Let's leave that to dry, and then I'll adjust the value if I need to after. Now, this part of the face is highlighted right underneath the eyes. And this part here on the other side. Yeah. Let's do that. So this part is highlighted right there, right? But when we go down here, it becomes darker. So we should go down slowly. This is highlighted right there, but then here is a bit darker. And you'll see it in a minute when I highlight this a little bit more. Here we go. Highlight this a tiny bit more right there. The reason this is highlighted more is just because the skull and underneath is higher here, right there. Now, I'm going to take a strong kind of highlight. Well, and I'm going to put line, which is going to define his nose right here. Right there. Now, I'm going to push the highlight a bit so I get a softer nose line. Sorry, I'm going to darken a bit again. This part.
Okay. Yes. That's all we have. For sure.
Really, his nose is longer. I have it short. His nose is longer. Well, his nose goes all the way down here. Hmm? This is the hardest part. The nose is wider at the bottom right here, a little bit wider. So even if we don't do anything, we just do a narrow line here, and then we widen the line a bit at the bottom, and we leave it like that. It's fine. The problem with acrylic, it dries darker. So it's very, very hard to figure out the values and to create a shape of a nose. It's all about the value. So the value is too light, too dark, too harsh, everything changes. So it has to be kind of soft transition from light to dark. I'm going to put, okay. All right, I'm going to draw the rest of his face because I can't tell right now. So he has skin right here. Oh. And then I'll put the mustache over. See, now I can see. Okay. Like that. Sorry, my the nose is, I'm redoing it a bit. It was a bit short, so I'm trying to make it longer. Okay, that's better. This is where the lip is, or underneath. You can't see a lot of his lip because the mustache is over. But you can see a light kind of skin tone right here. And then when I put the mustache over it, it will work.
Oh, don't mind me, I just take a measure.
Okay.
It's dry. Put some burnt umber. Very slowly. Eyebrows. And then I'll stop. Again, this tiny bit. All right, his mustache. Maybe wait a bit. Okay, let's wait a bit. Okay, so I'm painting part of the face down here darker. So I'm completely forgetting about the beard. I'm not even thinking about that. And I'm gonna put, oh, this one here needs light. So continue. Burnt sienna, burnt umber, white, and paint this part. So when I put the beard on, paint it, it's not going to be harsh. It's going to be a soft facial hair over skin tone, instead of putting just dark facial hair. I'm gonna give it a bit of highlight here. Don't worry about it. If you see details, don't worry about those details. Like all I think about in something like that is dark, light, dark, medium, light. So underneath right here, it's dark. So I'm going to take a little bit more of the burnt umber mixed with the skin tone, and I'm going to add it here because that's dark. His face is casting a shadow over his over his chest. But it becomes lighter over here. So for now, this is good. So when I want to add now his facial hair, it's going to be easier. It's not going to look harsh. This is burnt umber mixed with a bit of the skin tone. And what I'm going to do is really kind of put a bit of this color over here, just to indicate where the eyes are, or eyes and his eyebrows. So wherever I'm highlighting, a strong highlight or a highlight, I try avoid using burnt umber. Burnt umber is only where the shadows are. So right here, I'm using just burnt sienna and white. Push it up, and then we'll put some wispy hair. Highlight, white, burnt sienna. And slowly. Highlight slowly. Push your paint with the tip of your brush. It's going to be wispy hair over this, so over this area. That's it. All right, let's work on this part of the arm. And highlight here in the middle. Trying to blend highlight and darks. And now I'm going to take a strong highlight, which is burnt sienna and white. Change my brush into a smaller one, round. And I'm going to come and put some highlights right here. These highlights are going to dry darker. I will adjust the value when they're dry. Now, coming down here. So if we're looking at this, this is the strongest highlight right here, up here. Then it becomes, it's there in this area, but it's not as strong. If you look at your reference, you will see there's a slight change in value. So I am darkening a bit my color. Now I'm going to go to the darker part and I'm going to blend these. Now I'm going to adjust my values so they're not harsh and sharp, because this is acrylics. It dries darker, and you know it becomes harsher when it dries darker. So I'm adjusting my values right now. Now let's do his arm. Oh, again, take white now at this point. Burnt sienna, white. Put my color into the darks. I'll get a mid-tone and just highlight a bit here. I'm using the tip of my brush, so I get a very soft highlight. I think I forgot to do the wall behind. Now that I have the wall behind, I can see that the hand, his hand needs to be adjusted in terms of shape. So it doesn't look like a claw. It's too late. Mine looks like a claw right now. So I'm going to take in, reshape it a bit, kind of like this here. So look at don't look at the hand, at the arm, I mean, no, the hand. Don't look at the hand. Look at the negative space behind it. Look at the wall behind, in between the two fingers. This. Look at this. Try to paint this shape. And don't work on it too much on the hand, because what we're going to be doing is once we put the shirt on, we can see better what needs to be done. Okay, again. Once I start putting painting the shirt, I'm gonna reshape the hand. The what's that? This one. Thumb. I'm gonna reshape the thumb. Okay. Good. Work on this one. The one holding the horse. Right. Mid-tone. Not highlighting, I'm doing mid-tones. So I have a dark here, I'm gonna do mid-tones. So with the mid-tones, I'm using burnt sienna and white. And slowly, I'm gonna start adding highlights. Let me turn this around. Right, so this part is a little bit higher. I'm really not looking at any detail. I'm looking, I'm seeing in there. It's not the detail. It is the shapes. Shapes in terms of value. I'm blocking those fingers. Okay, now shouldn't have done that. Go easy on highlights. This should have been done after. All right, okay. Burnt sienna, white. It's all about values, different stages of values, and slowly. Let's take a bit of dark, mix it, which is burnt umber, mix it with burnt sienna and white, and darken this slightly right here. I'm going to take now, clean my brush, take white, burnt sienna, and highlight right here, like that. Now, let's change into a smaller brush, because I'm going to highlight now. I'm going to highlight the thumb. See how it dries darker with acrylics. So I have to constantly make sure that I am adjusting the highlights. And highlights, usually, this is when you shape. You give you can see the shape of the hand or the arm or finger. Right. Of course, when I start working on the horse in the back, I will trim a bit this highlight from the back. For now, stick darken a bit. You're gonna overlap this part with the thumb right there. So when I'm looking at highlights, I'm looking at the shape of the highlight as well. Not only the highlight itself, it's how it's shaped. Is it a triangle? Is it an oval? So this looks to me like a kind of a triangle in this area here. Very hard to adjust highlights with acrylics. I'm going into more brown, burnt umber, and I'm going to continue painting fingers darker, further in. So I have a dark here, and you'll see it when it dries. I have a dark in there. You can hardly see it right now, but you'll see it more. We'll see it more when we start putting the color of his shirt, whatever is behind the fingers. We'll see them more. And those dark browns that you see in between the fingers, or the dark line that you see in between the fingers, I'm going to put some of it, but very slowly, not all the way down. A hint of it. It makes it softer, makes the whole. Oh, okay. So a bit of dark in here. So I'm mixing my brown with some of the skin tone to darken it, because I'm sure I know that this is going to dry darker, way darker than darker than it's supposed to be. Burnt sienna, white. Now, this is where the knuckles are, but I did the knuckles right there, but now I'm going to darken a bit. Burnt sienna. I'm just adding a little bit more burnt sienna, that's all, to my white. And I'm just going to push this color down. Burnt sienna, white. Turn the phone off completely. Okay. Again, highlights again a little bit, because these strong highlights are really nice. And I simplified. I really simplify whatever detail I see. I simplify it. I can see that the thumb has more kind of knuckles in there, or two of them. Just simplify it. There's no need for all of that. As long as the hand looks okay, then just the rest is not important. Sometimes too much detail is distracting. Now, I'm going to work on the beard. I'm going to mix it with a bit of skin tone. Otherwise, it looks too harsh. And I'm going to build it up slowly. His mustache and his beard. Okay, so I'm going to build it up slowly. Let's take some burnt umber. try with a bit of burnt umber only. And if it doesn't work and we need more, then we'll add black. But I have a feeling this is going to work. Wispy. See, this is a little bit too light. Very light, actually. Let's darken a bit. This part. Let's blaze it. That's better. There. Hmm. Black?
Did you add it black?
No, there's no black at all in here. It's just burnt umber. The darks are the burnt umber. I would like to round this nose, the tip of the nose a bit, but I can't do it right now because I need to get closer. This this part detail of the nose needs to be a bit rounded. I just need to get closer. But other than that, it's fine. All right, for the hair. The first layer is going to be black and brown. So black and burnt umber. I'm gonna take black, mix it with burnt umber. And I'm gonna paint the hair right here. This is the darkest part, and we need this for the highlights to make it look wispy. And as soon as I get to the outer part of the hair, of the head, I'm gonna add more brown instead of black. So that will make it softer.
It is solid.
Mm.
Putting it as solid, it's not wispy or anything.
Well, it's kind of not, yes, yes, the middle one, inside.
Yeah.
Inside is solid, but as soon as I get to the outer part, I start wisping, you know, making it wispier, but not the, more like this, not, not very straight. Outer part, mess it up a bit. Again, a little bit more brown when we get to the outer part because it's softer. Because this is where the light is, the highlight. Okay, now let's take smaller brush, round, some brown, some white in the brown. I'm making it more, I'm adding a little bit more white water in here, so it gives me a nice wispy brush stroke. And let's see, we might need another color, but I don't think so. I think we can, yeah, should be okay. And again, I'm going to be highlighting slowly. Some mid-tones right now. Again here. I'm keeping an eye on where the highlights are. The strong highlights or the midtones. Not the strong highlights yet. Okay, this is enough. You can hardly see it in that. Let me see if maybe if I remove this. I'm going to take black and brown now with the small brush. Water down your paint. If you don't water it down, it will blob. This is where we're going to put wispy hair over his forehead. And I'll go over that with the skin tone and open up some areas. If I find that the hair is a bit too much, I'll open up the forehead with some negative painting, and I'll show you in a minute, because I can see that I am getting in trouble in here. Right, more white with brown and black. Brown and black, white. Now, again, I'm going to water down my color, wipe my brush, and come here, and I'm going to start highlighting more. The highlights, usually the strong highlights, are kind of smaller, not as wide and big. So the more light I put, or the more white I put, the less brush strokes, or make them really narrow. And if you make them like a glaze, it's even better, because they will dry transparent. They will dry nice, and they're not heavy. There are few wisps of hair that are kind of strong. There's a strong light on them. So I'm highlighting my brown to get that strong light, and that what makes the hair look shiny. But if you put too much, then it will look white. If you see that it's turning gray, add a bit of brown to your white, and forget about the black. See, even now, if I put too much white, I can glaze it later on with a very soft, transparent color of brown over that glaze, over that white. So that I could see the wispy hair, but still see the wispy hair, but it would be, the color would change into brown. That's why glazing is really nice. Slowly, good brown brush. Right. A little bit more white, tiny bit more. Maybe add kind of a strong white, because it's drying dull. here. If by the time this is dry, and if I find that it's a bit too much, this white, I'll just glaze it with brown. I think it will need glazing in brown, personally. Now I'm going to go back to my burnt sienna and white. Okay. And I'm going to open up the forehead where I lost some of that skin when I was highlighting or while I was putting the hair. Okay, a little bit more burnt sienna in here. It's just too much white. Take brown. Make it glazy. And soften those wisps. It's between back and forth between skin and wisp and hair. Sorry, skin and hair. And pay attention to the shape we're putting here. So I'm looking at that shape and making sure that the shape of the forehead is kind of rounded, not straight. A bit more brown. Okay, now his hair up here is dry and it looks too white. So I'm going to take brown, burnt umber, put water in that, or a glazing medium if you have one. This is pretty good. So see how white it is. So I want it to be light, but I don't want it to be too white. So I'm taking brown and put water in it. See how watery it is? And then I'm going to go over and glaze all of this hair. Now I can still see it, but it's brown. We're done. Okay, so this is where we're at this week. Next week, we'll continue working on the figure.